You're watching Capital City News, your connection to Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Poonam Kumar. This week we'll be talking to Robin Heiden from the Salt Lake City Police Department about their anti-idling initiative. And our History Minute this week is about John W. Gallivan. Let's start off with our legislative update and look back. In news from the city's redevelopment agency, Lisa Adams was chosen by her peers as the chair of the RDA, and Derek Kitchen was chosen as the vice chair. The City Council met recently in a public workshop to hash out priority projects for the year ahead. Homelessness, affordable housing, street maintenance, and economic development were among the top action items. Mayor Biskupski delivered her first State of the City address. She laid out her priorities and vision to the people of Salt Lake City.
Those of us who work for Salt Lake City must also remember the work we produce impacts the daily lives of the people we serve. And the knowledge we have gained during the course of our careers is a valuable asset.
City Council members and Mayor Biskupski met earlier this year with state lawmakers from the Salt Lake area to strategize about this year's state legislative session and jointly work on common goals. The session ends on March 10th. The 2016 Sundance Film Festival premiered once again in Park City with screenings here in Salt Lake City, and brought with it some of the biggest names in Hollywood, as well as films on the cutting edge of independent cinema. Salt Lake City is proud to be part of such a long-lasting and influential event. This week, Robin Heiden with the Salt Lake City Police Department will tell us about a recent 600 Cars event and the police department's effort to help clear the air while preventing car thefts in the city.
Every year we see the vehicle thefts go up when it gets cold outside. We have about 1,700 vehicle thefts a year, but during the winter time they really go up, and that's because people are leaving their cars idling in their driveways or at businesses to keep them warm, and we notice that it spikes every winter. So this winter we decided that we would do kind of a campaign, and on Twitter every day we put out how many cars were stolen and how many of those vehicles were actually left idling with the keys inside. And every day we had, between 1 and 5. So we really tried to reach out to the community and let them know, hey, this is a problem that we're facing. And we didn't really see an effect from that. So we put together a big operation. And on January 11th, we went out and we had 50 officers all the way from administration down to patrol officers. And we went out and we contacted people who left their vehicles running in their driveways or at businesses. So we did this from 6:30 until 9, so about 2.5 hours, and we contacted over 600 cars that were running. And I gotta tell you, I was really shocked because when I went out there, I took media along with me, and I thought, oh boy, they're gonna ride along and I'm not gonna find any vehicles that are running. But I was really shocked at how many cars were actually left idling, just sitting in driveways and sitting on the street and sitting in 7-Eleven parking lots. I went from one to the next to the next. And in my 2.5 hours, I stopped 15 vehicles myself. So it was a number that was even staggering to me. Not only does it help you not to get your vehicle stolen, but it's good for the environment. You don't want to leave that vehicle running. In fact, we saw some vehicles that people actually left running and then went in and jumped in the shower and spent 20, 30 minutes with that vehicle idling, which is really bad for the environment. So that, two benefits to not letting that idle in the morning. One, maybe it won't get stolen, and 2, it's better for the environment. This is not just your vehicle that's stolen. Think about everything that's in your car that you put in there that's taken with the car. There's the keys to your house, usually. I had one actually where there's 2 children inside, a toddler and an infant that were inside the vehicle. The male just went into 7-Eleven really quick to grab a cup of coffee, and he didn't want to wake his kids up. And I understand that, I'm a mother, but it would have been so easy for somebody to get in that car. It was actually unlocked. And I opened the door and saw those 2 kids inside, and my heart dropped as a mother, thinking, wow, that person could have gotten there and driven right away. And we've had that happen before. Actually, just in the last few months, we had a vehicle that was stolen that was idling that had a child inside. So it does happen.
Lesson learned. You might be cold, but at least you'll have a car to start. And now it's time for our History Minute.
Born in Salt Lake City in 1915, John W. Gallivan was a newspaper publisher, civic leader, and philanthropist. Today, most Salt Lakers might recognize him most easily as the namesake of Gallivan Plaza in the heart of downtown, but he's played a much more vital role in the history of Utah. As the owner and publisher of the Salt Lake Tribune from 1960 until his retirement in 1984, his was an influential voice in the arena of politics, enough so that President Kennedy invited him and a number of other newspapermen from Utah to visit him at the White House for a luncheon. At the end of this, Kennedy remarked, "What can I do for you?" And Gallivan responded, "Well, we have an application in for an Area Redevelopment Administration loan that is going to revive the city of Park City." Kennedy told his press secretary to take care of it, and before the end of the year, ski resorts opened in Park City, much to the benefit of Utahns and Salt Lakers alike. Gallivan also campaigned to bring the Olympics to Utah starting in 1964, which eventually happened in 2002. So important to the bid was Gallivan that he was able to run the torch during the opening ceremonies. He passed away in 2012, leaving behind a legacy that Utah will not soon forget.
This week, we'll learn what it means to be an engaged citizen rather than an enraged one.
Welcome to Salt Lake City, throne of the desert empire, a glistening gem in the mountains, surrounded by unmatched beauty and splendor. While the mayor, city council, various city officials, and an army of dedicated public servants and volunteers strive diligently to make our capital city the best it can possibly be, they can't do it alone. They need your help. Yes, you. How could I possibly make a difference, you ask? Well, that depends on you. Are you an engaged citizen, active in your community and in the know? Or an enraged citizen, confused, angry, and out of the loop? The engaged citizen subscribes to the city's newsletters and email lists, calls to ask questions, comes to public meetings, participates in Open City Hall on the city's website. They both give and receive valuable information at their leisure through the wonders of technology or through time-honored traditions of verbal communication. The enraged citizen participates in few, if any, of these valuable exchanges and therefore might feel ill-informed, powerless, or even bamboozled by city plans. Let's take one example. When a public works project that affects a neighborhood begins, the engaged citizen is not only in the know, but they may have even attended any number of planning meetings, voiced concerns, and affected the design, direction, or outcome of a particular project. Meanwhile, the enraged citizen seethes with fury as their world is turned topsy-turvy by events seemingly beyond their ability to influence. The engaged citizen takes a moment to phone their city council representative, attend community meetings, or even walk into the mayor's office when they feel strongly about an issue, have a concern, or even a bone to pick. Since they're informed about the issue, they can quickly and respectfully voice their opinion and have their valuable input heard during the public process. When a disengaged citizen hears about an issue, it's possible that many of their opportunities for engagement have expired, and the issue is coming to a close, and that may make them feel, well, enraged. But government works slowly and methodically. After an issue has gone through the mayor's office, numerous public outreach efforts, public meetings, and then voted on by the city council, it becomes quite difficult and costly to start all over again. That's why it's important to make sure your informed voice is heard early on in the process when its influence is the greatest. So, what have we learned here? While it is the obligation of government to open its doors, provide ample opportunities for education and outreach, offering a welcoming hand, it is the obligation of the citizen to take that hand, become informed, and share their ideas and perspectives with their government. Because, after all, the government of Salt Lake City exists solely to serve its citizens. Now that you're no longer an enraged, but an engaged citizen, empowered by information and influence, we can all work together to ensure that Salt Lake City makes only the best, most informed decisions so that we might become the best city in the entire universe.
That's the end of another episode of Capital City News, where we do our best to keep you in the know. Make sure you keep watching to stay up to date on all the latest. For SLC TV, I'm Poonam Kumar.